honest, people mistake it for one another. People, they talk about it, interchanging their meanings for each other. All right. And then also when you talk about health, what people do think, and most of the time is about your physical fitness, kind of your being healthy, not having any diseases, or you having a fit body, kind of. Yeah, that's what people think of. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so health, according to the WHO, it's defined as the state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. I'm sure most of us in the health line or in one way or the other, you would have heard this definition most of the time. It's a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. Very good. So that is what health is. Health, state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. All right. That is not just merely the absence of diseases. Okay. Now, wellness on the other hand, from the slides, is more of a process. Is a process of living healthy, an active process through which people become aware. There's that self-awareness of things for you to do in order to be successfully healthy. That's what wellness is. If you're going to look at it now, it means there's a kind of difference between both of them. One is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and the other is the active process through which we become aware. So that's the first thing, is you're becoming aware, and then you're looking at some choices you want to make towards you having a successful existence. Moving to the next slide, we'll talk about the difference between both of them. Now, as we've said before, a state of being, so it means a presence. At this time now, we could say as at today, 2023, almost 8:23 p.m., I'm healthy, a state of being. While the other one, wellness, is kind of a living. It's a continuous form. It's an action. It's a process of what? Living healthy through lifestyle, through choices that we make. So from the slide we'll see there, it's a state of living a healthy lifestyle. Now, it cut across so many things. So looking at health, there are about 5 components of health. The different components of health helps us to understand on the things we need to look at, the things we need to look into and try to be. All right. Now, there's something about our body. We might mistake our body to just be just this physical appearance, but it's not just that. All right. There's so many things that our body encapsulates than just the physical appearances. We've got the internal organs, we've got the various systems. So I remember from the elementary biology we did in secondary school, we say we've got cells, we've got tissues. The cells add up to make tissues, the tissues add up to make organs, the organs add up to make system, and the system add up to make the whole body. So you hear the terms such as cardiovascular system, respiratory system, pulmonary system, and all those stuff like that. All right. So going to the next slide here, it tells us about the fact that it's our responsibility that we keep our bodies healthy. Okay. Our body is a gift given to us, all right? And it was given to us freely. So it's our own responsibility to make ourselves healthy. It's our responsibility to make decisions, to make choices, to keep ourselves healthy. So what we're talking about today, what we want to talk about today is that, first of all, understanding what health is and what wellness is, and how can we live healthy. We've been able to identify that health is a state of being and wellness is an active process of living, to successfully existing in an healthy state. Great. Now we're going to go to the components of health, the 5 components of health. And right on the slides here, you could see physical, social, spiritual, emotional, intellectual. So while we were defining health, the WHO mentioned just immediately 3 points about, it said, a state of complete physical, social, and emotional well-being. But really, we have about 5 components of health. That's the physical, the emotional, the intellectual, the social, and the spiritual. Very good. Now, if we go to the next slide, we can delve into these components one after the other. Now, we're looking at it now, looking at the physical. Now, this is the part where most people do think health is just all about the physical. So most people will say, oh, health, or they would think health is just all about the physical. No, physical health is just one part of health. It's just one part of it. From this talk today, we can be able to say, yes, there are 5 different components of it. Now, the physical, yes, where most of us responded the other time when we asked, what are you doing to live healthy? Eating right. So it talks about you looking at the types of food you eat. In various parts of the world, we've got different types of diets, different types of nutrition. We understand that from our part of the world, as Africans, most of our food are kind of rich in carbohydrates. Yeah, it's about you finding out what particular food to eat, and that's where we talk about balanced diet. So you want to make sure your food is having the appropriate nutrients that you need for good functioning. You want to make sure that your food carries the appropriate resources that helps you to live healthy, eating right. Yeah, we also mentioned exercising well. And then you want to ask yourself, are you intentional about this? So if I ask ourselves this question, most of us, among all of us here, do you have an exercise routine? Do you have a program of exercises you do? Now, regarding the exercises, what is your aim? So there could be different reasons for exercises. For me, I talk about exercises a lot, and in my kind of work, we use exercises as a modality of treatment, as a form of intervention. But in this sense now, we're not talking about exercise as an intervention only. We're talking about exercise as a daily routine to keep healthy, to keep fit, and also to maintain our body. Habits is the next thing. Now, when we talk about habits, we understand at this part of our life, this is when we make lifestyle choices on things that we do that we get used to. You see, in terms of drinking, in terms of alcohol intake, in terms of doing some kind of lifestyle activities such as smoking, uh, in terms of the kind of cream, the body creams we use. The several times we see several things outside there in terms of topical applications. Now, the question we should ask ourselves about those things is that, are we aware of the impact of those substances on our skin and then on our general health? Now, the habits we make, we go up today and we find out in this place I live in here currently in the UK, you find out, you see people in their teenage years, you see them already smoking. Yeah. And then there's a new thing in town now that is called vaping. So those that are not smoking are possibly vaping. So vaping is the electrical form. It's not the one you don't need to light the cigarette, the cigarettes. You have it's I don't know how to describe it now, but I'm sure we possibly would have seen it around. Vaping. So you see youths of nowadays, teenagers holding it, and then they're just all blowing it out. So it's not cigarette itself, but vaping is another habit that some people have also are into currently. I think in Sokoto, the one I'm aware of, then also, or even in Nigeria, we have this is it shisha, or what is it called? The one you have this pipe around, and then yeah, people go. So these are different habits that people take, or people kind of indulging. And at the back of their mind, they fail to ask themselves the question of what is the impact of this on my health. Now, still on physical health, sleep. Sleep is a very, very important topic. It's a big topic on its own. We find out that most of us deprive ourselves of a good, healthy sleep. We don't have enough time to sleep. We don't have good rest. And then even when we rest, the question is that sleep relaxed enough that could help your body to regenerate, that could help your body to repair itself? So when you're sleeping, that is the period where your body is repairing damaged tissues, is repairing different parts of your systems that needs to be fixed. It's helping your body to recover from the rigors of the day. So a very good sleep, it's important for the body. Now, this is the part of the physical health that is one of the components of health. As I said, we've got 5 components: physical, emotional, intellectual, social, and spiritual. Now, the next one here, we could see it is the intellectual part of it. The intellectual part of it. Now, this talks about your awareness on how to solve problems. Is the part of you that is looking at how to think about issues, critically think about issues, being aware of what to do to solve things, your eagerness to learn. Yes, you know, the word curiosity, inquisitiveness, is not just about you just wanting things to be done. So I've seen people around, and you just ask yourself the question: wait, you're young, you're energetic, why are you always wanting people to just get things done for you? Yes, there's a problem, there's something that should be done. You could try work it out to fix it yourself, critically thinking on, okay, there's this issue going on, how can I look at it, how can I solve it, how can I work things out, how can I improve my learning? Can I take some extra courses? Can I take some soft skills? Can I add it to my skills? Can I take part in some activities that would improve my intellectual abilities? Even games. The question I ask myself when I want to do some things is, I ask myself, okay, I want to play this game. What or how would this help improve me intellectually? I want to read an article. How will this build me up? Because what I'm after is, I'm not just wanting to do things for doing sake. The question I'm asking is this going to help me? Now, we're talking about our intellectual health. It is very important that our brain also needs to be exercised. The same way you exercise your physical body, you want to build more muscle mass, you go to the gym, you start doing some exercises. The same way you need your brain to be exercised. Reading books. You read books on various topics. I remember then I read books on public speaking, Dale Carnegie. I was in the unit and you read books on several topics that you feel you want to improve yourself on. Now, these are ways in which you improve your intellectual health. All right. Thank you. Yeah. We've got the next part of it, the emotional health. Yes, the emotional health. And you know, we're going to be hearing several things like mental health now. It is until recent times that this is coming up, that the fact that someone does not have a physical ailment or disease does not mean that that person is fine. There are so many people passing through various mental health situations, and we term that under the emotional health or mental health. You could put it as that. Now, the emotional health is that state of awareness, state of self-awareness. Is that state where you are aware of your feelings, you are confident of the person you are, and you're confident about your feelings. Yes, it's all right. Yeah, I think on, if you look at the slide, I'm on the fourth part now, the fourth part, not the third one, the fourth part, which talks about staying positive, fighting stress, healthy relations, expressing feelings. That is the emotional health. It means that you're looking at things and you're just trying to stay positive. There's some people, most times when things happen, it's always towards thinking pessimistic. being pessimist about it, thinking, oh, it's going to end up with me badly. Now, if you're not careful, this will gradually drain you emotionally. It weakens us emotionally. You want to stay positive. You want to do away with stress, because you find out that stressful situations drains us. It affects us even emotionally also. Now, the kind of people we have around us also matters, and that comes into building healthy relationships with families, with friends, with colleagues, yes, and with the society. Having healthy relationships, healthy relationships. So when we mean healthy relations, it doesn't mean just your family. No, family, friends, colleague, and the society at large. These are things that helps us build appropriate emotional health. And now they come the part of expressing feelings. You should be confident to express your feelings in the right way. Now, telling people, this is how you made me feel. Of course, not in an aggressive way, but help finding ways. So you see, finding ways to help people, to make people understand, I feel this way. I'm not happy about it. And I want us to deal with this. Now, having a very good emotional health encompasses all this I've talked about. Being positive, trying to avoid stressful situations, building healthy relationships with friends and families, with colleagues, and with the society, and being confident enough to express how you feel. Great. I'm going to come to the third part the third part in that slide. That's the spiritual. The spiritual. I understand that we might have different people in different religions, but yes, we can't take away that part from being healthy, from health. When we're talking about health, all right, it's that part that looks at what you think of yourself in terms of your purpose. You know, this was what the question I asked myself. Remember way back as when I was writing my jam, but yeah, while I was still trying to get into the university, and I asked myself the question, wait, what is my purpose in life? I'm sure that I'm not just created just as nothing. There's something I'm meant to do. So everyone, every individual, there's something you are meant to do. There's something you are meant to contribute to the society. Now, your spiritual health, connecting to your source, connecting to to something divine, connecting to God, all right, helping you to find meaning and purpose of your life, spiritual health. And now that part is a very, very important part of your health also. The last part, not the last but not the least, now it's the social health. Yeah, the social health. There's that way you're able to build good communication skills. Now remember, in the emotional health, we talk about expressing feelings. Now, how do you express your feelings? Actions, communications. Now then we'll come to that social part that talks about your communication skills. You know, some people are just good at communicating. They are able to just communicate out what is happening, what they want done, how they want this to be done. Now, this is a social. So the social health talks about us not just being someone that you are just wanting to take from the society, but you're asking yourself, what is my responsibility in the society? What can I contribute to the society also? And that brings about that society contribution part of it. And then also looking at every part of your society, living and maintaining peace and harmony with everyone within your society. Now, a good social health would help even give you internal peace. All right. Now, we've been able to look at all of these 5 components of health. I'll be delving into the next slide also now. So if you could help me with the next slide, which we're going to run through that Menti again. Let's run back to the menti.com. Can you join that slide again? Can we go back to menti.com? We just have 2 more questions to ask ourselves. I'm going to share my screen from here. All right. Yeah. So let's go back to menti.com. Are we there? Yeah. So I'm right now sharing my screen. Wait, so if you could see the question, can I, can I, hear you, please?
We cannot see the question. We are seeing your own slide of trying to join. I think you are not in the hosting side.
Okay. I'm just presenting now. Can you see it now?
No, we are
Okay.
seeing like the end where the kind of interface we are supposed to see.
Okay. All right. Let me go back then. Let me go back. I think possibly it's from my own end. I need to go back. I'm already sharing it from my side, but I'm not sure why it's not going through. So yeah, I'm just going to go back there. Just let me know where you are at now. Go back to that. Present now. Good. So you should be seeing it now. Can you see it
Can you give
now?
us the code? Yeah, we see
All
it
right.
now. So
Yeah,
yeah,
the code is there. Yeah. So it says here, what are the major organs of the body? The major organs of the body that if something goes wrong can affect every other part. So we've been talking about the different components of health: physical, mental, intellectual, social, spiritual. All right, so this is more on the physical part now. Now, the major organs of the body that if something goes wrong can affect every other part. So yeah, we've got different organs of the body. Tell us. Yeah. I've not got any response yet, so it means we've not joined. Have we?
1499.
All right. Heart,
149.
lungs, brain. Okay.
149.
Okay. We've
9959.
got major organs of the body that if something goes wrong can affect every other part. Yes. So some people are putting it there. The heart, yes. Okay. So remember it says what are the major organs. So it's not just one. So yes, if something happens to your heart, it's going to definitely affect every other part of your body. The
Kidney.
brain, thank you, brain. Okay, I somebody said kidney, the brain, and heart. Good, thank you. The kidney, the liver, the heart. Yes, thank you. All right, I'm going to go to the next question, the last question for today. It says here now, this is a bit, yeah, it says, which is the most important organ in the body? Yeah, so I've seen us in the previous slide. We've answered, we've given different organs: the brain, the kidney, the heart, the liver. Now, this one is a bit dicey, so look at it properly. Which of these is the most important organ in the body? I see the heart going, all right. The liver, the brain, which of them? I've got about 15 seconds left. 15 seconds left. Good. Okay. Okay. Everyone is going for the heart. The brain. Mm, okay. The brain. Great. All right. So time's up. Thank you for your response. Okay. Let's come back to the presentation. All right. So let's come back to the presentation and then we would see what the answers are. So you're very right regarding what are the organs that if something affects them, it's going to, if something goes wrong in those organs, it's going to affect every other part. We're right with what our response is. The brain, the heart, these are very, very technical parts of our body. All right. And that's you're right with that. The second question, which of them, if something happens to it, is the most important out of the liver, the brain, and the heart? It's the heart. The heart. Now, with the brain, you could have people having issues with the brain's disease such as stroke, and you still see them living, you still see them going back with their activities. They have cardiovascular accidents, and they're still going on cardiovascular disorders, but they will definitely have some physical ailments. But the heart, that is the, when they say something is the heartbeat, I think one of the motto of one part of one state in Nigeria says the heartbeat of the nation. Yeah, now that is a very serious part. So the heart is that part of the body is the most important of those three we talked about: the liver, the brain, the heart. Yeah, good. So that's just some bit of icebreakers there. The next slide here, if we move on ahead, we're going to look at how these different components that we've talked about, how they are interlinked. All right, how they are interlinked. So from all these things we've talked about regarding the physical health, we also understand about wellness. There are dimensions to wellness. Dimensions of wellness. We've got the environmental, we've got the occupational, and we've got the financial. All right, our time is almost ending now, so I'm going to run through this part now. Now, environmental talks about how we are able to relate with our environment, the Mother Earth. It talks about thinking about every activities you do, how it impacts the environment. You see, while I was in Sokoto, I was just like, oh God, we so mess up where we're living in terms of the environment was not how it should be. Now, it's all about looking at how can we make our environment better. Is it about planting trees? Is it about appreciating the natural resources we've got? We've got sunlight in abundance. Now, activities you do, how you relate with your environment, it's a dimension of wellness. You see, when I moved to the UK, I understand the fact that you would see the world and you see it in a different light. Be like, this world is beautiful. You go to places, you see scenes. I know we've seen them in pictures. You just see the landscape, you see the beautiful green grasses. You wouldn't want to litter that kind of places with rubbish because it's just so beautiful. Now, our environmental wellness also forms a part of our health and well-being. Occupational wellness. When we talk about occupational wellness, this talk about how we can juggle through work and life, how you can balance your career together with your daily living, how you can juggle through stressful situations at work and still live a balanced life. That is occupational wellness. I'm running now, so permit me if I'm not dwelling much on this part. The financial wellness now. The financial part of what talks about how much of our awareness on managing our resources in terms of budgets, in terms of savings, in terms of making the right investment. I read a book. The title of the book is The Wealth of Babylon, if I'm right. Something Babylon. Yeah, I think it's it. It's still got the hard copy at home. The Wealth of Babylon. And this book talks about how to save. Now, we do see health and wellness on a scale of just my physical health. But as I said, it's way beyond that. Now, going to the next slide now talks about the connection between these different dimensions. It says the components of our health and wellness, physical, mental, social, emotional, and spiritual, it interacts. So there's nothing like one is more than one or one is more important than one. They all interact. They dynamically influence each other. And then it means that there's a necessity for us to have a balanced approach to each of these different components, each of these different health strategy. You must have a balance between every one of them: the physical, the mental, the intellectual, the emotional, the social, and then the wellness part of it in terms of the finances, the occupational, and the third part of it also. Great. All right, the next slide. Now, there's something we need to understand about the preventive health strategies, and that's part of the reason we're talking about this. We've been able to understand different components of health, and what we are trying to move towards now is how we can move towards preventive approaches. Now, the world is moving away from just curing diseases to preventive approaches, emphasizing preventive measures such as regular health screenings, a lifestyle modification. If you've been eating late at night, you want to change those habits. If you've been living without carrying out any physical activity, no exercise, you want to change that approach, because you know that the decisions you make now will have impact on the several years you've got later on earth. The next slide. All right, the importance, the role of lifestyle choices and its importance also. Now, it's got influence on health outcomes. So every choice you make now regarding your health will influence your health outcomes. It will influence the quality of health you've got. It's if you're healthy, you will be able to say you want to pursue purpose, you want to achieve, you want to go for this, you want to go for this career, you want to change this job position, you want to move higher. It is if you're in good health. If you're not in good health, your quality of life is a total wreck. Behavioral patterns, this forms your habits. So the choices you make now forms your habits. I understand, or I want to improve my spiritual health, I want to improve my physical health, I need to exercise regularly, I need to have quiet times for myself, I need to understand how to communicate appropriately with people. These are behavioral patterns you start developing. We have got the social also and emotional factors. It also affects how you relate with your societies. All right, the next slide. All right, this talks about now the importance of health and wellness. It makes you happy as an individual. You're happy, you feel with life, you feel with vigor, it gives you satisfaction and overall good quality of life. Now, it's not just to you as an individual. When we have individuals within the society that's got good health, what happens to that community? The community is thriving. I've got so many examples I could share with us, but because of time, I might not be able to share with that with us. But as I said, the importance goes just beyond individual basis. It transcends into the community. You've got a thriving and equitable society. You've got a society that works on preventing diseases rather than spending more money on curing diseases. And then what we again, we have an healthy environment. An healthy environment. You find out that when you move from an environment that is toxic and you move to another environment that is quite better, you feel refreshed in yourself. You find out that, oh, there's a glow, there's something happening. Possibly, for example, for me, what I noticed was that when I moved away, when we moved from Nigeria to this place, of course, because we know that in Africa we've got the malaria epidemic, but yeah, we don't have mosquitoes. So that part of falling sick every time because of malaria is no longer there. All right, the next slide, please. Yeah, the last part there, the conclusion says, recognizing the importance of maintaining a balance across the various components of health and dimensions of wellness is the key to leading a health and fulfilling life. All right, this is a good time to wrap up because my baby is on my neck. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm very much open to your questions, and then within the few minutes we've got, we could answer questions and then give more clarity if there's a need for that. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Let's appreciate our guests. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. Thank you so much. Can we please use our reactions to appreciate him for the time that he has been able to tell us one or two very, very life skills that we've learned. Thank you so much, Mr. Victor. I know the time is not enough, but we're happy that this session is being recorded and we can always go back to listen in depth to the things that you have said. There's really so much to learn from it, and we can find our way around the questions now. So if you have any question, please, you can raise up your hand. There is this third to the right icon that looks like a hand. Just raise it up and we would give you the floor to ask your question. But if you are not comfortable speaking out, you can always type it in the chat box. So who wants to bail the cat? You know, as you were speaking, I had it in my mind that in a fast-moving world like the one that we are in now, where people do 1, 2, 3 jobs, you know, at least from the Nigerian settings that I know, one job is not enough. You are doing this one, you are running business on one side, and it looks like there's no time to maybe do exercise and all these things. How do you encourage us? What are the things we can do are there things we can do that will serve as exercise, or how can we find a way to maintain a healthy life through exercise?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, very good. So, with your question, if I understand well, how you could put exercise program into your routines, having different kind of engagements in terms of
Yes.
different work. Good, yeah. So I think it's one of those things I do have the discussion I have with my patients when a patient comes in and says, "Oh, I've got this issues, this musculoskeletal issues, MSK issues, and we've been able to assess and we'll make a diagnosis." And we're like, okay, you need to do some exercises. You need to do some bit of how to do these exercises. You need to do it. And they're like, I'm busy. I don't have time. Is there something that I can do? Is there, and then that's where we have that very frank discussion that, see, nothing will move until you push it. So that comes to that fact where you ask yourself the question, how important it is for me to find time to carry out these activities. Now, when we're talking about exercises, it's not about spending one until you spend 1 hour. Just a regular 10-15 minutes of a particular exercise routine or a workout activity can be helpful. And that's why we say making a lifestyle choice. So if you decide that, okay, I want to be physically fit, I want to do 15 minutes jog every day, or at least 3 times a week, or at least 5 times a week, that's a good thing. You're starting from there. See, it is what you find important. You create time. You'll always be able to create time for it. It's just like if you've got a disease now, and the doctor says you need to take this medication, 5 medications every morning by 8 a.m., or even if it says by 12 a.m., tell me, will you not find time to take it when you know your life hangs on it? You will. Now, what we are saying now is that why should we wait until when you get sick or when you start developing, like for now, what we are dealing with now is more of long-term conditions. While you wait, will you wait until when you get to that stage before you start making a decision? You get? So what our advice is that the aim of this kind of talk is to open our ideas, open our eyes, create our awareness to that preventive lifestyle now, making healthy decisions now, healthy lifestyle choices now towards living well. 10-15 minutes of your daily routine based on your own arrangement can go a long way when it's all culminated to give you a happy quality of life afterwards. So I would say it's all about you looking at your routine, you looking, is this important? If it's important, you create time for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for that. Whatever is worth doing well. Thank you. Any other question? There's a question here that says, if you are working in a setting where you do only routine activities, just the same things, maybe you are working where they are packing, what's it called? They are packing pure water, it's just, you put the nylon, you put the water, it's just routine. So how do you exercise your intellect if you are working in a place where they have only routine activities like this?
Very, very, very good question. Very, very good question. Now, this comes to you also, first of all, asking yourself, what area, what part of me do I want to improve? Do I just want to stay in this line? Now, you do a job that has just routine activities. The different online soft skills or training provider that you could do afterwards. I'm sure possibly your work is 8 hours job, 8 in the morning to 6 p.m. You can create 30 minutes every day to start doing some bit of online trainings, all right, which you could tell yourself, okay, I want to do these soft skills. I want to do this AI. Currently, the world is shifting into artificial intelligence now, programming skills. Even if it's not that, if it's some other skills, you can join. Everything is just very easy now by joining online or doing things online. Okay, now you're doing that routine. It's about you finding yourself. Okay, do I see myself in a different place? First, ask yourself the question: is this where I want to remain in? Is this kind of routine activity, is that where I want to stay? So for example, for myself, I was in a place where I was doing a routine activity in my own line of job. It was routine, it became routine for me after about 5 years doing kind of repetitive thing. I'm like, I asked myself a question: is this how I want to go on? And that made me started making some decisions. I started doing some, we call it in our own field, continue professional development. I started taking some extra courses. So in my lunch time, my break time, I would take some extra courses on that field I was going into. Like as a physio, you've got different specialties. You've got respiratory physiotherapists, you've got neurological physiotherapists. I asked myself, I don't want that. I want to be a musculoskeletal physiotherapist. I started doing trainings on that. So within my lunch time, even at work, I created that time. So I have 1 hour break time. I spend 30 minutes or 20 minutes to eat my lunch and do everything. The remaining 40 minutes, I was doing online courses. And with that, I was able to sharpen my skills. And I was able to assess and get better opportunities. So it might not be just skills. It could be reading a book. The question should ask yourself, when have you read a whole book? A book, like, do you have a book you've read? Okay, this is the period where you could say, okay, I want to read, I've got 3, 4, 5 books I want to read this year. And you can create a goal. It could be 30 minutes, 20 minutes, you read a chapter every day. And these are ways you could improve your intellectual health. Thank you.
Very much, Mr. Victor. That's really apt. Reading books is one of the affordable ways to exercise our intellect, and it's not that hard to get a book around. Razak, you have the floor. You can ask your question, and then we might be wrapping up this session for the night.
All right.
We can't hear you very well.
Okay. Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation, sir. So my question is actually in line or similar to the question that was initially asked. Um, how can we, or rather, in what ways can we ensure that we're able to balance our mental health? We give it much attention, such as the work of our physical health in today's environment, especially like Nigeria.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. Mental health, seriously, it's a big thing. And I see patients when they come here in my own line of work here, they come in and you see they have they come down, they tell you I'm having shoulder pain or I'm having pain in my neck. And then you do your assessment and you find out that your neck is moving well, your arm is moving well. I don't think what is happening is due to any particular dysfunction in your body. And then you start asking the question, what is happening around, any stressful situations? And then the patient just bursts out into tears and start crying and tell you what is happening around them. They're facing several situations. Some people could be work stress. And yeah, in such cases now, you know that, there's a research currently now that's been able to identify the fact that the brain has the same pathway for when you've got a trauma or when you have a dysfunction in your body due to injury and when you have emotional situations. Now, your body translates it the same way. So it comes down with pain. The same part of the brain controls when you're having a mental breakdown, an emotional breakdown, and when you're having physical injuries or physical deprivation of health. Yeah. Now, how can you help that? Just look at you asking the question, what is that thing that is stressing you? First of all, identifying it. What is that thing that is causing that emotional issues or the mental issues, and finding a way of how to balance it. Is it work? Do you need to speak with your supervisor? Are you in a working environment that are you having that job satisfaction? Are you in that working environment that is good? If not, you want to think of changing your jobs. Of course, I understand the system in Nigeria. It might not be as easy as that. In this part of the world where I am in, what we do is they've got counselors, they've got psychologists, we call them talking therapists, and you could even with online you could access different platforms where you could have counseling, you could have mental health providers or counselors, psychologists you could talk with, and they can be able to help you navigate through this path. Because yes, your mental health is very, very important. All right, so that also affects every other part. But as I said, you want to first of all understanding what is stressing you. Is it physical stress? Is it emotional stress? Find out what the stressor is. Then you can now look at how to help it. As I said, there could be different ways in which you need to work on it, depending on the individuals. Some people, it could be relationship. It could be if you are in a toxic relationship, it might be that you need to end that relationship. Yes, if you're in a toxic relationship, you might need to end it. So yeah, as I said, you want to find out what is it first of all that is stressing you. It could be financial stress also. Yeah, that's another situation. That's a really big one to delve into. But depending on what it is, identifying what it is, finding ways to solve it through looking for help, psychologists, counselors, they can be of help in that situation. Thank you.
Very much, sir. We have one last question before we call it a night. Yes. Oh, we have two. I would pick the second one because I think you've answered the first one. But I'll read it anyways if you still have something to say about it. The first one, which is similar to the other ones you've answered, says, how can someone stay active if they have a sedentary job? But the other one says, how does intermittent fasting affect metabolism and weight management? It's in the chat box. How does intermittent fasting affect and weight?
I'll tell you from my own personal experience. You see, when I moved to the UK, what I understood was that I was adding weight, and I okay. I see 90-year-old patients in this place, 90-year-old patients not walking in with stick. They're coming in and they're moving. I was like, you're 90-year-old and you can do this. And I just asked myself the question, wait, I need to start changing my mindset in terms of what I do, the activities I do now, because I understand I've really got a lot of years to live. And then the question is, how do I want to live it? Do I want to live it bent over, walking with a Zimmer's frame and not able to do this myself? I want to still be healthy and active. Great. So the question is, having a sedentary work, what we do here, all right? Most times, as I said the other time, we use our break time well. Break time, when you get out of job, you sat down for over 4.5 hours of your first hours of work in your 8 or 9 hour job, or most times our jobs are 8 hours. If you look at it, 8 hours to 8 hours, 30 minutes, you have 1 hour break or 30 minutes break. I do have 30 minutes, but what I do, my job is sedentary, so I sit down. Sometimes I go outside calling my patients. That half hour, 30 minutes, what I do is I stop everything I'm doing. I take a walk. All right, I take a walk down, walk around the environment, the street, 2 streets to where I'm walking, and then walk back. That is a very good one. Sometimes in my walk, I've got another place where I walk upstairs. I could go downstairs to call my patients, and just while going up and downstairs, I'm keeping active. It's not that I also have I go to the gym or something like that, but that's one way I do. All right, now intermittent fasts. Now, as you've mentioned, I also employ that. So, well, it's part of the spiritual part now. As I said, all of these are interlinked. Most times in our different religions, we've got times where they call out for fasting. Those are very good period. Apart from the spiritual benefit, it's also got the physical benefits. Now, the way your body does is that I can't delve into it much as a dietitian would do. But from my understanding about it is that your body is able to use, while you're fasting, your body uses the stored energy, the stored fat or adipose tissue in your body to provide its fuel, to provide the energy it needs. Now that is breaking down those excess fat in your body, and that's helping your body to clear out toxic materials during those periods when you're fasting. All right. So intermittent fast now helps your body to clear away toxic materials, burning those stuffs out, using them as a source of energy for you when you're fasting. All right. So that it's a kind of a detoxification process for your body around that period. And then when you finish your fast and then you start eating again, your body is able to store up those those fat again. But there's something that happens to how your brain regulates your body, in the sense that because of the fasting, your body kind of works in a way that it knows how to efficiently metabolize this food you eat, the food you eat, and then able to store some, and then also helps you to gradually detoxify your body. As I said, I'm not a dietitian. I'm not into general medicine, but these are the simple ways in which intermittent fasting can help your body to detoxify yourself and have appropriate physical health. As I said, this can only work on physical health and maybe let's say spiritual health. So these can improve your physical and spiritual health. Yeah. And this also can, I'll say, yes, I've employed it in my own ways. When I see, okay, or I'm having big tummy, I put it into use, and it's really helping. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we please appreciate our guest one more time? It's an opportunity to learn these things and to be able to know that we can actually do something about the various aspects of our health. And it's really good to see it in a very holistic way, the way we have been able to see it this evening. And for me, the challenge is to find a way to do more exercise, and to also try to get one or two books to be able to push myself some more in terms of exercising the brain too. So thank you so much. We are grateful for the time, and we hope that if we call you next time, you will be you also do us the honors of coming around. So thank you so much once again. And for the people that have joined us, I know network has been somehow. Some people have been reaching out to me that the network is not allowing them to stay in. So I have good news for you. By this time tomorrow, we would have uploaded the recording on YouTube, and you can always go back there to watch at your own pace. And also, if you have questions, you can send it to me, and I can always reach out to Mr. Victor, and then he can also reach out back to us. So thank you so much, everybody. Next month, same last Saturday of the month, that's the Sunday of the month, we are going to be having another session, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be enlightening too. So please, you can forward the link to your friends. I'll share the link to my YouTube channel where you can see all these videos. And for the next event, I'll also send messages and links to you. So thank you so much, everybody, once again for joining this evening. I would, if you need the slides, you can always reach out to me, and I can obtain permission from Mr. Victor to share them with you. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
you can very much share it, please.
Okay. I'll make it available for anyone that is interested. Thank you so much, and have a good night.
Yeah, thank you so much for the time. Thank you for everyone. I could see Eben, Sister Beatrice. I could see Miriam also. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's nice catching up with you guys again.
Yes, thank you so much. Bye,
All right,
everyone.
bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.